Okay, so I want to read you the letter that Shanann's old friend wrote to the police department after Chris confessed, and I just found some interesting points, like a different kind of perspective on some of the incidents that we've heard that happened, like with Chris's parents in North Carolina, and just how she explains how Shanann explains the incidents to her, and some of the stuff, it was kind of explained a little bit different, like when you hear his parents talk about it, or just different people's talk about the whole nut incident. But to hear how it really went down is kind of interesting. My personal conversations with Shanann Watts. Our visits include the dates of July 17th, 20th, 24th, and 31st of 2018. I completely realize that at this time, anything I could add is completely hearsay and possibly inadmissible. However, considering what has transpired and per the request of her parents, I am providing parts of my personal conversations with Shanann that I feel may possibly be relevant to the case during the time we shared during her recent trip to North Carolina for consideration in an effort to assist with only what I was made aware of by Shanann. I have known Shanann since she was about 15 years old. I met her and her mother, father, and brother when she worked for my family's restaurant as a hostess in Southern Pines. She later worked for the family's second restaurant, our family's second restaurant location in Pinehurst, in the same capacity. We became very close and bonded as close friends during her younger years, easily fast friends. She considered me an elder confidant, and I was more than happy to oblige her when she needed someone to reach out to for advice. We remained friends after her employment in my family's restaurant. Later, I helped her get a job at A1 Wireless, where we worked for a short time. And so she actually was 13 years older than her, because it has her age. So she was 13 years older than Shanann. Okay, so let's continue. I had not seen her in person since she moved to Colorado. Nonetheless, we kept in touch online through the years. During her recent visit to North Carolina in July 2018, she reached out to me and wanted to spend some time with me, one-on-one, while she was here. As you can imagine, I was so excited to see her again and the opportunity to finally meet the girls, to whom I watched grow online through the years. We set a date for dinner for Tuesday, 7/17. She wanted to have some one-on-one time with me to talk and catch up, and she scheduled her mother to watch the girls during our dinner date. So on 7/17/2018, we met up at my family's restaurant in Southern Pines, approximately 6:30 p.m. We sat on the patio and had dinner. Conversation started off like any other we had, with pleasantries and how good it was to see each other, how much we had missed each other. Okay, she appeared to be very happy, absolutely glowing with her pregnancy. During our meal, we discussed her family life. She said she was so happy, loved being a mom, wife, and excited in the success of her business and where it was heading. Along in the conversation, I asked her how her relationship has developed with her mom, particularly now that she was a mom herself. She said that she understands her mother now more than ever. They have always been close, but now closer than ever, and how thankful she was to have a mom like her guiding her through. Then she offered, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law is a different story altogether. Curious and seeing how obviously she wanted to touch on that, I asked her, how so? She began to tell me how her mother-in-law and sister-in-law have clearly been unaccepting of her throughout her relationship with her husband. How difficult it was for her and Chris to cope with it. She said her mother-in-law particularly tries to undermine her as a wife and mother any chance she could find. I asked her how her father-in-law reacted to her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law's position. She said he was a wonderful man and was good to her, but she could see that it was her mother-in-law that ruled the roost, and she felt that her father-in-law would just brush off his wife's and his daughter's opinions. She said her sister-in-law does and acts in whatever manner her mother-in-law expects of her when it pertains to Shanann. I asked her how Chris handled the situation. She said that Chris was her rock, always supportive, always put her and the girls first, and she felt that was a real contention of tension between her and her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Her mother-in-law and sister-in-law were crystal clear with her and have told her on so many occasions that she was and never would be good enough for Chris, and that she drags Chris down, that she did not truly love Chris, and Chris deserves so much better. She added that her mother-in-law and sister-in-law blame her for taking Chris so far away from them to Colorado. She said that Chris was so happy to move, that her mother-in-law was not exactly a nurturing mother to Chris as a child and teen, more possessive and controlling than anything, even through adulthood, and that he was just so ready to get far away from the negativity they placed in his life. Disheartened, to say the least, not having ever met her in-laws to know any different than what Shanann was confiding in me, and knowing Shanann the way I do, I could not imagine anyone not embracing her. I told her how sad I was for her and for Chris, and that they were made to live and deal with such animosity from his family. I assured her that whatever feelings her mother-in-law and sister-in-law are and have been for her, so as long as Chris stands by her and the girls, then that is all that really matters. I suggest that she let Chris lead the way in dealing with his family and their issues with her. She said her heart breaks for Chris each time they come down on him about her, because she sees firsthand how it hurts him and affects their marriage. To add insult to injury, Shanann then added that her mother-in-law has done what she could through the years to make her daughters, Bella and Cece, feel less than throughout their lives. Shanann said she felt like her mother-in-law would go through the motions of being a good grandmother for Chris's sake, but could see the actions outweighed the words. Same applied to her sister-in-law. I asked Shanann for an example. She said, "Oh girl, so many." But to provide the latest example was that despite knowing her mother-in-law and sister-in-law felt about her, and even though Chris was not yet in North Carolina to join her, she did not want to deprive her daughters of as much time they could spend with his family during her visit. Okay, so she's providing an example. This is when she goes on to talk about that nut allergy, when that situation that we all know about. So here we go. Okay, so Shanann arranged a visit with them. I understand that this was sometime during the week before our dinner together. She said the visit seemed to be going along smoothly at first. However, Shanann felt the tension in the air, and that their feelings about her and how they interact with Bella and Cece was still fresh with them. She said that she kept a brave face and positive attitude during her visit, hoping this visit could work towards building bridges with her mother-in-law and sister-in-law and bring some peace. She said they had lunch, I believe on the patio, hot dogs if I remember correctly, and after lunch her mother-in-law had Bella and Cece follow her in the kitchen for some dessert. Shanann heard the girls getting excitable, possibly out of hand, and out of motherly curiosity, Shanann went into the kitchen to check on them and found that her mother-in-law was handing the girls a small bowl of ice cream. Shanann noticed some pieces of something in the ice cream, and Shanann asked her mother-in-law if the ice cream had nuts in it, and her mother-in-law responded, "Yes, just a little." Shanann was, and just a little, I mean, if you're allergic, just a little is too much, you know? You can't have any. Okay, anyway. Shanann was stunned and told her girls, "I am sorry, girls, you cannot eat that." Her mother-in-law followed in, still trying to hand the girls the bowl of ice cream, and having not looked up at Shanann, said to the girls, "Oh, your mommy doesn't know what she's talking about. This ice cream couldn't hurt you." At that point, Shanann apologized to the girls and sent them out of the kitchen without the ice cream. Shanann said to her mother-in-law once they were alone, "You know that they are deathly allergic to all nuts. It can send them into anaphylactic shock. I do not understand how you think it's okay to give them ice cream with nuts in it. Please respect their dietary restrictions, and to please ask me first when offering any food to the girls, and I will let you know if they can eat what you are offering." Her mother-in-law waved her hand in dismissal at Shanann and told Shanann, that she was just being overprotective. Okay. As usual, and passed her by to head back out to where her sister-in-law was with the girls. Like, she's like, "Oh, you're just being overprotective." Okay, so frustrated, Shanann followed her mother-in-law out of the kitchen. Shanann said it was so hard for her not to raise her voice, but she did not want to create a scene with her in-laws in front of the girls. So she bit her tongue from saying anything further and followed her mother-in-law out of the kitchen to where the girls were visiting with her sister-in-law. Shanann noticed that when they rejoined the girls and sister-in-law, that her sister-in-law abruptly got up and went into the house. About 5 or so minutes further into their visit from that point, Bella told her mother she was thirsty, so Shanann went into the kitchen to get her something to drink. She said she was floored to find her sister-in-law placing a large bowl of mixed nuts on the kitchen table in clear reach of the girls. I mean, she's just provoking her, like on purpose. That's just, oh my God, they are so mean. That's not even anything to like joke around about. Like, that's somebody's life when you're allergic to nuts. I mean, wow, you could die. I mean, I know she had the EpiPens, but I just, wow, it's just not, that's not a funny joke. That's just so rude. I just can't believe anybody would be that mean. Man, I think I would have went off. Like, if I was Shanann, I don't know if I would have been able to bite my tongue. I think I would have just went off on her. And I would definitely have taken the kids and left. I really would have. So I don't blame her at all. Okay, so she asked her sister-in-law why she would do that. Her response to Shanann was, "We always have nuts out on the kitchen table." Shanann told her, "I was just in here. There were no nuts on the table. You know how allergic the girls are of nuts." Shanann told me she was so upset, hurt, shocked, and amazed that they both would try to offer the girl nuts directly and indirectly, that she felt that her only course of action was to simply collect the girls and go home to her parents' house. I mean, I would have done the same thing. I would have been so shocked and amazed and, oh, wow. I don't know. It just, wow. Anyway. Okay, so she collected the girls and they went home. So Shanann said that despite their actions, she informed them of Cece's upcoming birthday party, the time, the place, and asked them to please be there, and that it would mean so much to the girls if Chris if they could make it. With that, Shanann left with the girls. So see, like, I know a lot of people, I feel like, didn't realize that she actually still invited them. Like, after all that, she did invite them. She told them the time, the place, like, please be there. After they treated her like that, though, but, she knows that that's their grandkids, so she did the right thing. Okay. Now her friend saying, "Of course, I was shocked to hear this as well. I asked her if she has spoken to Chris about the incident, and she said yes. He was not happy at all about it and would speak to them." And then it says, Shanann added that prior to her visit with her in-laws, that she was considering allowing the girls an overnight visit with them. She said that after that incident with the nuts, that she just couldn't trust it. So, and then she said she decided she would not take the girls back to their house without Chris present. She asked me my opinion, and that did I feel she may be wrong about not going back to their house until Chris was with them. I advised, no, your first and foremost priority as a parent is to protect your children. That you should never feel or be made to feel guilty in being a protective mother. I offered that they should have known better, and it was clear to me from the incident, Shanann explained, that they do not respect her as a mother and were very dismissive of the girls' health issues. That I understand from Shanann that they were fully aware of all along. I told Shanann if it were me, I surely would not take my children back there alone or leave them alone with them for any reason. From there, we continued our conversation talking about old times and old memories and where our lives are today. Okay, so, and then actually it shows, well, I guess there's another, they got together on, they got together for a Thrive event on July 20th, and then they got together again on July 24th. I mean, this is her and Sandra, her friend. They had a second one-on-one dinner with the family at the family's restaurant. They met, they met at the restaurant. As conversation went underway, I asked her how Cece's birthday party went. She said it was wonderful. The girls had so much fun. They were so happy with the party that the girls were missing their daddy and wished he was there, as did she. She then said, "Guess who did not show up?" Shanann informed that Chris's family did not make it to the party. They did not call or text to let her know that they would not make it. Shanann said she texted and called them several times during the party to see if they remembered and to assure they knew where to go and what time the party was. Shanann said they never responded to her calls or texts. Shanann told me how sad she was for the girls that they did not make it to the party. Shanann vented to me, "It does not matter how they feel about me personally. There's no excuse for them not to make it to the party for the girls." Shanann further added that she had a feeling that they did not come because Shanann declined allowing the girls an overnight visit in lieu of the nut incidents. That they knew that Chris would not be at the party and that it was their way of retaliation towards Shanann. Shanann was clearly hurt that they were a no-show. So she says that Sandra advised her to stay positive, not allow their behavior to affect her heart negatively, bring her down on her trip, or to just enjoy the people who enjoy her and the girls in return. Shanann said she was trying her best and would continue to try, but it just hurt so bad that they think so little of her that they would take it out on the girls. She then added, "Do you remember last week when I said I would not go back to their house to visit with the girls without Chris?" And I said yes. She said, "I have decided that it would be best for the girls and Chris if I did not go with them during their visit to her in-laws. Chris can take the girls for a visit when he gets here if he still wants to after how they've treated our girls." I asked her if she thought maybe it would be better for Chris and the girls if they could provide a united front together as a family and go with them to her in-laws, if she would reconsider. She said she sees my point, but that she did not want to be there in their negative tension while Chris and the girls are spending time with them. She said it may be the best thing she could do for them in the effort for Chris and the girls to have a positive visit. She said that she just wished her mother-in-law and sister-in-law would just get over it already. Wish that they would accept that they have a great marriage, beautiful little happy girls, and a new baby on the way to look forward to. Okay, so they actually planned another dinner date for her to finally meet Chris and the girls. So it'll be the first time that Sandra, her friend, is going to meet Chris and the girls. And then go to her family's restaurant again. So it says, I was held up at home waiting to sign for a package. So she arrived a little late for the dinner. I headed out to the restaurant to meet Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Chris around 6:30. Their apps were served by the time I arrived. I sat next to Chris across from Shanann and Bella and Cece in their booth. It was nice to finally meet them, especially all together as a family. The girls were clearly happy to see their daddy. They were bubbly, excitable, smiling, bright, and enjoying their buttery noodles. Chris was quiet. I felt unassuming, did not say much, but when we spoke of the possibility of a new baby boy on the way, he lit up with a smile. It appeared to me that he was happy to be back in the company of his wife and girls. Just not a man of many words. We all went to the lobby to visit just a pinch longer, considering this would be my last time seeing them for a long while. If there was trouble in paradise for them, they did a wonderful job hiding it. I did not get any negative vibes or urges of concern from or about him, or from Shanann or the girls in relation to him. For all intents and purposes, they were a happy family, looking forward to a quick trip to the beach before they headed home to Colorado. Shanann, with girls and husband in tow, kept the conversation light and airy. She did not bring up any family issues and was just happy to have Chris with them in North Carolina after being apart those past weeks. About 9 p.m. or so, we said our farewells. Shanann snapped a picture of me and the girls in the restaurant waiting area, and then we walked them out. I had no inclination that I would never see them again. Later, she posted on Facebook that she felt very ill, thought it felt like she was experiencing symptoms of food poisoning. She later texted me with another self-diagnosis of dehydration. I chalked it up as side effects of pregnancy. I had no idea or could have ever expected that just a few short weeks later I would hear that they went missing and then murdered, and that Chris confessed to killing them all. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole thing. There's a couple ending notes, but I'm not going to read those. So, I don't know. I just found it kind of interesting to hear, you know, the whole incident, how it took place, well, how Shanann explained it to her friend. Because, you know, I was just getting little bits and pieces from, like, texts and just of the incident. I wasn't sure exactly how it went down, and now I see. And actually, I feel like she handled it pretty well, considering they were just provoking her. I just can't believe, wow. And I mean, I don't know. I think I might have yelled at them a little more. Yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to even handle it as good as she handled it. And the fact that she did say that Chris could still bring the kids over, and she did invite them to Cece's birthday party still, because I wasn't sure if, you know, how that went down, if she just yelled at him and then had Chris invite him, you know what I'm saying, and then did they just feel weird? But no, that she actually invited him that day, that they did that with the nuts, that she said, still after that incident happened, she still said, hey, make sure you come to Cece's birthday party. You know, Chris would be so happy and they would love to see you. After they just did that, provoked her with the nuts and potentially harming her, and she still invited them, like, personally, you know. So I thought that was, just shows you her character too. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I just wanted to read you that. I don't know, I just felt that kind of interesting. But okay, I will see you next time. Bye.